Hey, everybody, welcome to Buffalo Plus and the Buffalo Plus YouTube page. Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates, and there's Jenna Cottrell. She's in Orchard Park. She was at practice today. Let's start with the practice thing. Everybody's concerned about the injuries. We know they're banged up at linebacker. What did you see on the field today, Jenna?
So we did see Tremaine Edmonds. He was wearing a red jersey today. He did not have pads on, but I thought it was a positive sign, him at least being out there. Matt Milano was not out on the field. At least we did not see him for the portion that was open to the media. That to me is signaling something that could be a bit concerning, the fact that he wasn't even out there. Tyrell Dodson was out there. Delshon Phillips was also out. They were kind of, meandering. They weren't practicing as hard. But again, Tremaine Edmonds was out in a red non-contact jersey, whereas Matt Milano was not out on the field.
Yeah, Dan, when I look at this, I think to myself, look, they want those guys on the field every game. And they're not taking anybody, quote, lightly. But it is a 16-game season, and these are very important players. Do you think teams, especially in this year, are going to be a little more cautious with their injuries?
I think so, especially with these soft tissue injuries like Milano has, who's had a lingering hamstring injury or groin injury in the past. I think that's more of a concern. I think you can, obviously with Tremaine out there, I think that's a better sign that he'll be out there. And when McDermott provided his update or lack of update on these guys, he was quick to say that he's like, I don't think Milano will be out there today. And I was ready to tweet like, Milano's out for the game. And he's like, no, this is for practice. Like, I want to clarify for practice. So he still is, once again, he's midseason for McDermott. Everything's very close to the vest once again. But I thought it was interesting. I mean, my vibe is Milano will probably be out. Tremaine will probably be a game time decision. What's your thought, Jenna?
No, I perfectly agree with that. I think with Milano's history of having those soft tissue injuries, the fact that it's going to be really hot in Miami. I mean, the weather here is beautiful. It's sunny, but it's not anything like South Beach, as we know. I think guys are going to be more prone to cramps and everything that goes along with that. And the fact that Tremaine was out there today, I think, agree. I'm not going to say whether he will be out there on Sunday, but I think a game time decision is the perfect way to place it. Obviously, they want him to be out there. He's an important role out there, but it's also week 2 against the Dolphins. And if, we know anything about this Sean McDermott team, it's that they like to look to the future as well. So I think most likely a game time decision.
All right, Jenna, you mentioned they're going to be in Miami. And we know there's going to be fans in Miami, probably 13, 14,000, whatever the number is. Few weeks ago, Sean McDermott said, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yes. And today he said,
control the controllables. I'm actually here. I'm going to start walking it back just to have the visual cue of what McDermott did. No, I think, a couple years ago, it was like, trust the process. I think this year is going to be the control the controllables. Look, he was saying earlier on, like you said, he called it ridiculous. And then now he's like, we're focusing on what we can control. So I think it's a classic regular season McDermott type of mood, a decision. Also, 13,000 fans is not a lot. I don't expect that to have a real impact on the game. And I think Sean McDermott said his piece about it. And now he's moving on. Oh,
Dan's wound up. Go ahead. What do you got?
No, I'm not saying it's nothing, but we watched the Kansas City game and they had 15,000 at their, at Arrowhead, and they didn't pump in any crowd noise. They were full start. Houston had some false starts. I'm not saying it's nothing, but they're going to go from.
Had some false starts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that rests my case. Like, they could affect somebody. I'm not saying it's going to be a big issue, but I thought it was great how you guys said, like, McDermott walked it back. He was asked about pretty much those comments, and he's like, haven't thought about it 1 ounce. I haven't thought about it at all. And just kind of goes, we're excited. We're excited to play in front of fans. Like, it was the classic spin by McDermott of, like, I don't even remember what I said it was ridiculous. Because what? We're on to the game.
I will give him this. In that preseason mode where he was Mr. Open and talkative, he's not focusing on the game. Right now, the last thing he really wants is have his team think that something's unfair or you're going down there. First of all, we talked to Stephon Diggs after the game. He was like, I forgot the Bills game. I forgot we didn't have fans. I mean, really? He forgot as he's pulling up to the stadium? But I will say that number of fans, I do think brings some energy to the stadium, which I think will be a good thing for both teams. And how much of an advantage, I don't know. And like in Kansas City, it's a big advantage to have well, not the fans, but to have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, right? There's your big advantage. But it is going to be interesting to see. And last thing before we let you get back to the interviews, Jenna, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I was hoping you would bring this
He
up.
is, John's the president of the fan club, right?
Super talented. What was the phrasing? Super
talented and something else.
Yeah. Tremendous ability.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, we didn't see it last week. We know he has those games in there. I think Sean McDermott, of course, is paying respect to the opponent in the classic McDermott way. But yeah, you can read into that tremendous ability as much as you want. Yeah. There is one thing I do want to note, though, from practice today, that when we got out onto the field, they told us that John Brown would not be practicing. That was a little bit of a surprise. They said it had to do with a foot issue. We're not sure the extent of that. We did not see him out on the field at all. That's definitely something to monitor. But kind of a surprise when we were walking out there because Sean McDermott did not specifically mention him on the injury report, but he seemed like he was only talking about the linebacker. So just something to monitor.
Also better than COVID concerns. So we'll take a foot injury then, hey, somebody's not on the field. Well, I'm just saying when somebody's not on the field instantly this season, you're going to go to worst case scenario. So I think we'll take a foot injury, or the Bills will take a foot injury rather than real concerns.
And you guys have been at enough of these practices, and we all follow this during the week. Tomorrow is really a key day, right? Usually they want those guys out there Thursday, at least practicing partially or in uniform and doing that. Friday is a different type of day, and then, of course, you go into the weekend. So we know a lot. I think the picture on the injuries gets a lot clearer coming up tomorrow, but we will see what happens. All right, Jenna's going back to work, so are Dan and I. Remember, Buffalo Plus, the YouTube page, our new podcast is out. We think you'll like it. Talking about Josh Allen, his running. Will it continue in Miami? Check that out wherever you subscribe to podcasts. Subscribe, comment, like. Plus, it's on the YouTube page also. All right, for Dan Fates and Jenna Cottrell, who's up in Orchard Park, I'm Mike Catalana. Thanks for watching. We'll check you out the next time on Buffalo Plus.